Good morning. At this time, we're going to be convening our regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, posted for today, August 8th, 2017. Present are Commissioner Fuentes, Commissioner Palacios, and myself. We have a quorum. However, at this time, because we're running late, we're going to be recessing the Commissioners Court meeting and convening the Drainage District Board of Directors meeting, posted for today, August the 8th, 2017. And again, present are Commissioner Fuentes, Palacios, and myself. We have a quorum. And we're going to be recessing our Drainage District at this time. We have to do all this because of the procedure involved in having to open up because of the time of the posting of these meetings. All right. So
with reconvened Drainage District.
We are hereby reconvening a Drainage District Board of Directors meeting. Please join us in prayer.
Thank you, Judge. Let us pray. Father God, we just come to you before this morning just to praise you, to give you thanks for another day that you've given us, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity for this great board that you've appointed and these leaders of this county. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to come and do what is best for Hidalgo County, Lord. Continue to watch over them, provide them wisdom, understanding, your peace as well, Lord, as they make these difficult decisions that affect us all. Apply that same wisdom, understanding to myself, my staff, and all the great leaders of this great county, Lord. I ask all this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Under open forum, did anyone sign up?
No, sir.
Our consent agenda, any concerns?
No concerns, Judge.
Move for approval of consent agenda.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 5, discussion Hidalgo County Drainage Stormwater Project Maintenance and Operations. 5A Edinburgh Stub Control Structure. This was one of our bond projects that we had listed. We completed the project in 2015 and at a price of $242,807. So it's one of our control structure, one of our major drainage systems to be able to manage water coming in from northwest of Edinburgh and part of McAllen as well. The second project is the Alamo Lateral Control Structure. This is also a bond project identified. Originally, we had an engineer assigned to this project. We have since taken over that project and have already have the engineer evaluations needed to start the construction plans, or the design plans for construction, and hopefully we'll be putting out to bid that project by the end of the year. And that's a major system because that does serve precincts 1, 2, and 4 via certain laterals in the area. We're about 20% done with the design right now. So as I mentioned, we're going to try to put it out by the end of the year there. It helps a lot of the areas, eastern portion, central portion, eastern portion, I guess, of Precinct 2, the western portion of Precinct 1, and the southern portion of Precinct 4. So, item 3, South Flow Water Channel. This was also a bond project that was identified in 2012. That one's 100% complete. This was actually a partnership that we did with Urban County. We funded the construction of the levee improvements and the installation of additional box and pump structure. We invested $598,000 in that project, and that's 100% complete. And the last item that we have today is the Drainage District website. We went live July 5th. You can type hcdd1.org and get a lot of information that we have posted on the website. We're still working on it. It's still a work in progress. We're getting feedback on what we could try to work on to make it a little more user-friendly, and we're working on that right now. So just wanted to let the public and the board know that there's a way to get a lot of information through our website, acdd1.org. So, and that's all I have, Judge.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Item 6, A, requesting approval of FEMA project worksheet number 005950 as it relates to emergency protective measures, pumping operations for May and June 2015 rain event, and approval of Drainage District General Manager or his designee to execute.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval of FEMA project worksheet number 01528 as it relates to repairs of crossings for Hohen Road and Cherry Road during the May and June 2015 rain events, and approval for Drainage District General Manager or his designee to execute.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7, requesting acceptance and approval of donation deed from San Juanita Alonso, 15-foot drainage easement on Lot 41 as it relates to Colonia Lucero Norte Drainage Project.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting acceptance and approval of donation deed from Mario Gomez and Ruben Gomez, 15-foot drainage easement for Lot 47 as it relates to Colonia Lucero del Norte Drainage Project.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And just for the benefit of the public, we were needing those two easements so we can basically move along on our project that we've already awarded. Lucero del Norte is going to get a full upgrade improvement their drainage. The district's also doing some improvements on the Mercedes lateral, a couple of crossings, or a crossing we're improving, part of the ditch as well, so that's going to benefit that whole area, which has experienced issues in the past. So,
Well, we appreciate these constituents doing this for us.
yes, sir. Item 8, requesting approval to declare surplus the listed items in the attached Exhibit A, including vehicle units, heavy equipment, tractor shredders, general miscellaneous property for the purpose of sale through the auction. Scheduled on September 6, 2017, according to Texas Local Government Code 263152A1.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item B, requesting authority to publish advertisement for the auction of surplus items scheduled to be held on September 6, 2017.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
Item C,
motion
requesting,
carries.
Item C, requesting authority to remove assets listed on Exhibit A from the Allen County Drainage District Number 1 inventory list after finalizing the auction sale, and in the event no bids received. D, pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 263-151A and or 263-152A3, Board of Directors proceed to order any of the property on Exhibit A attached here to be destroyed or otherwise disposed of as worthless, in as much as the Board of Directors undertook to sell said items at auction on September 6, 2017, resulted in no bids received.
Move for approval on 8C and D.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 9, requesting approval to declare surplus field dirt from the following two locations, in as much as attempt was made through a request for sealed bids for the sale, removal, and hauling of dirt, loose material, advertised for 2 weeks and no bids were received. Location 1, South Main Drain, east of 493, approximately 179,060 cubic yards. And location 2 is the Penitas Drain from U.S. Expressway 83 to Canal Crossing, located 2,809 feet north of said of Expressway, approximately 87,398 cubic yards.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 10, approval of the following items: certificate of substantial completion from Venture Contractors LLC pertaining to construction project number CACD 116-0450-927 Kenyon Road and Mile 17 Area Drainage Improvement Project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 10, B, application for payment number 4 in the amount of $20,243.30 from Venture Contractors LLC pertaining to construction contract ACDD 116-0450-927 Kenyon Road and Mile 17 Area Drainage Improvements.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item C, certificate of construction completion from Venture Contractors LLC pertaining to construction project number CACD 116-0450-927 Kenyon Road and Mile 17 Area Drainage Improvement Project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, applications for payment number 5 in the amount of $27,899.05 retainage from Venture Contractors LLC pertaining to construction project number ACD 116-0450-927 Kenyon Road and Mile 17 Area Drainage Improvements.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And just for the benefit of the public, this is one of the projects over in the southern part, I guess, or excuse me, northern part of, I guess, central part of Precinct 4, the Canyon Road, a mile 17 and a half and 17, and then mile 18 as well. That with all that we've done here, one of the developments there at the southeast corner of Canyon and 17 that experienced some issues in the past with everything, the improvements that we've done and part of this project in-house and contractors. Now it's greatly improved, and now it has a flowing system. So just want to point that out. Item 11, approval of the following items. Application for payment number 2 in the amount of $8,319.60 from RDH Site and Concrete LLC pertaining to construction contract number ACDD 1-16031B 0809, Precinct 1, Mile 6 West and Mile 14 North area drain improvement.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B, certificate of status of completion for RDH Site and Concrete LLC pertaining to construction contract ACDD 1-16031B 0809, Mile 6 West and Mile 14 North.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, application for payment number 3 retains the amount of $36,364.22 from RDH Site and Concrete LLC pertaining to construction contract number ACDD 1-16031B 0809, Precinct 1, Mile 6 West and Mile 14 North area drainage.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, certificate of construction completion for RDH and Site Concrete LLC pertaining to construction contract ACDD 1-16031B 0809, Precinct 1, Mile 6 West and Mile 14 North area drainage improvements.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 12, requesting approval of supplemental number 1 to work authorization number 1 for agreement number CACDD 10704000627, Precinct 2 and Precinct 3 roadway system offsite drainage improvements to replace Exhibit D. We're asking for this action. We've gone through, and the work authorization is actually decreasing the amount by $46,497.25 from the original work authorization. But this is also a reimbursable effort through our interlocal cooperative agreement that we have with the RMA. But it is cost savings to both the county and the RMA.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 13, requesting approval interlocal cooperation agreement by and between Dow County Drainage District number 1 and Dow County Irrigation District number 2 as it relates to Precinct 2 Minnesota and Cesar Chavez area drainage improvement project pending final legal review.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 14A, application for payment number 3 in the amount of $451.27 from Moore Will LLC pertaining to construction contract number ACDD 1-160400816 East Donna Drain Flood Pump.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 14B, application for payment number 4 in the amount of $66,317.40 for Moore Will LLC pertaining to construction contract ACDD 1-160390816 Mercedes lateral flood pump.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, I know you're running behind. I just have like maybe 2 hours worth of executives. No. I have one item, one quick item. I do have one quick item.
Pursuant to 551-071 and 072, need a motion to proceed.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll be in executive session for a short. All right, we are back in open session.
Thank you. On real estate acquisition, we'll proceed at 16A, will proceed as directed, and 16B, pending on potential litigation, no action.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. At this time, we're going to be reconvening our regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court posted for today, August the 8th, 2017. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunities that you give us. We ask you to bless these people that are here for the betterment of Hidalgo County. We ask you, please give wisdom to the ones making decisions. We do thank you also, Lord, for our families, our country, the people that fight for our country and do their service that we always appreciate. We ask you to please, dear Lord, forgive us for anything that we do without thinking about you first. We ask this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Our consent agenda, any concerns?
No concerns, but if we can pull item 9A and B, please.
Make a motion to pull those items and approve the rest.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, at this time, we're going to be taking an item out of order.
You still have 9A.
9A and B.
Have to abstain.
Oh,
I'm making a motion to approve 9A and B.
Second.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I abstain, Judge.
And for the record, Commissioner Fuentes is abstaining. At this time, we're going to be taking an item out of order. That would be agenda item number 19A.
And then you guys start lining up from here, across that way, facing that, please. A little further back, and then a little closer this way. Make more space. Is everybody fit?
A lot more. Okay. Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. My name is Kimberly Guillen. I am the County Extension Agent for 4-H and Youth Development here in Hidalgo County. Also here today is Esli Reyes, Assistant Agent for 4-H and FCS. The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and Hidalgo County 4-H program annually elect or select young leaders to represent the county program in various ways. The Hidalgo County 4-H Council provides leadership to the county delegation by recruiting new members, hosting monthly meetings open to all members, and by coordinating and leading county-hosted events and contests throughout the year. This year's council includes Charles Lee, our president from Valley West 4-H, Tyler Denny, first vice president from Town and Country 4-H Club. You want to step forward? Tyler Denny is also our District 12 Council first vice president and is a member of the Texas 4-H Council. Our second vice president is Claire Lee from Valley West 4-H. Our secretary is Jocelyn Boyle from Town and Country 4-H. Treasurer is Cooper Ford from Borderline 4-H. Our reporter is Ashlyn Martinez from Town and Country 4-H. Our parliamentarian is Emery Drury from Town and Country 4-H. And our District 12 delegate is Elisa Rodriguez from Town and Country 4-H. Elisa is also the youth advisor on the District 12 Council. And our other district delegate is Lily Ford from Borderline 4-H. The 4-H Ambassador Program aims to project a clear and accurate image of the Texas and Hidalgo County 4-H and Youth Development Program. Their purpose is to develop leadership and communication skills, help the public understand the full scope of the 4-H program, and to provide service to various organizations in the community. Our 4-H ambassadors are Justin Capadona from Lynn San Manuel 4-H Club, Ashley Cortez from Starlight 4-H Club. She's right there. You want to step forward? Thank you. Charles Lee from Valley West 4-H Club, Claire Lee from Valley West 4-H, Cooper Ford from Borderline 4-H, Morgan Parker from Borderline 4-H, Michael Bullion from New Horizons 4-H Club, Brandon Sorelli from Lynn San Manuel 4-H Club, Audrey Aguilar from Queen City 4-H, Emery Drury from Town and Country 4-H, Brian Peña from Borderline 4-H, and Ashlyn Martinez from Town and Country 4-H. The Healthy South Texas Youth Ambassador Program aims to develop healthy lifestyle advocates to serve as a source of outreach and lead programs out in the community. Their purpose is to serve as community health and wellness advocates, assist agents in providing leadership to the youth components of Healthy South Texas, to serve as leaders to implement health-focused curricula in local schools, and coordinate educational events that will encourage better health in their communities. Our Healthy South Texas Youth Ambassadors are Samia Asan, Angel Benavides, Jocelyn Boyle, Christopher Choi, Kyla Cuellar, Maysam Dagestani, Mayela Davis, Jaden De Leon, Fatima Figueroa, Alex Hernandez, Ashlyn Martinez, Emma Morales, Aislinn Morales, Jacqueline Maciel, Jaden Olson, Brian Peña, Megan Perez, Anaí Ramirez, Elisa Rodriguez, Jacob Salinas, and Evan and Trevor Williams. Thank you for having us here today. We wanted to present our 4-H Council and Ambassadors and our Healthy South Texas Ambassadors, and we look forward to serving Hidalgo County this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all want to take pictures with the commissioners? I gave some to her. I gave a copy to her. Yes, I gave her. Yes. And I also emailed it. Stand here as well. Everybody.
They get you after every year.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2. Sorry. Thank you.
Yolanda, come here.
Yes, I will.
All right, at this time,
There you go, Judge.
Joe?
I'm going to make it in for the vote. Hi, Virginia. You know,
Hit the bell.
a barbecue porch, you know, not por andar en Mirón.
Get okay?
Yeah, not yet. They took out the thing and, sorry. But I have to go, it is minor.
We're going to take care of some other matters. At this time, we're going to be reconvening our regular agenda, and we'll be moving on to item number 5A, our DA's office.
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. Rosalinda Cantu presenting for the District Attorney's Office. Item 5A, Hidalgo County DA's Office, Domestic Violence Specialty Prosecutor, DVSP Grant, Fund 1281. Approval to submit a DVSP grant number 2931302 budget adjustment to the Office of the Governor.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
5B, DA Victim Coordinator and Liaison Grant, VCLG, Fund 1281, and Criminal District Attorney's 1100 Fund. Number 1, approval and authorization for County Judge to electronically sign through DocuSign the grant contract for the Victim Coordinator and Liaison Grant fiscal year 2018 contract.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2, approval to accept the VCLG in the amount of $42,000 effective September 1st, 2017 through 8/31/2018.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of certification of revenues as certified by the County Auditor for the fiscal year 2018 VCLG grant.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval to appropriate the fiscal year 2018 VCLG funds.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 5, approval to reclassify fringe benefit expenditures to the Criminal DA General Fund account.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, item 6, our HIDA task force.
Sorry about that. 6A, HIDA U.S. Justice Asset Forfeiture Fund, Fund 1254. Authorization and approval to pay extra duty hours from May 15, 2017 through December 31st, 2017 to deputies assigned to the Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's Office HIDA Task Force for the following departments: Constable Precinct 3, Constable Precinct 4, and Sheriff's Office.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 7, our county clerk's office.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Annette Muniz, Chief Deputy for Arturo Guajardo Jr., Hidalgo County Clerk. We're here requesting approval for the official bond renewal for Elections Administrator Ivan Ramon.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 8, our Constable, Precinct 1.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Martin Blanco, Constable's Office, Precinct Number 1.
Sir.
Discussion, item A, discussion, consideration, approval for Hidalgo County Constable, Precinct 1, continued participation in Texas 1033 surplus property program.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Item 9, Precinct 2.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Armando Campos for Constable Martin Cantu. Item 9A, number 1, authorization to accept an approval notice in reference to the local border security program 2017-2018 LBSP for the amount of $32,000.
Move for approval. Second.
Item number
In
2.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item number 2, authorization and approval for county judge as authorized official to electronically accept rent award from the related document.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item number 3, authorization to pay overtime reimbursable under the grant terms and conditions.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item number 4, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditors for fiscal year 2017-2018, local border security program LBSP.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 5, approval to appropriate the budget for Constable Precinct 2 office portion of the fiscal year 2017-2018 local border security program LBSP in the amount of $32,000.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
All right, item 10, Constable Precinct 4.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Just real quick, Judge, A160929, Constable Precinct 4, U.S. Treasury 1259, approval of 2017 appropriation of funds into Constable Precinct 4, U.S. Treasury 294-01 in the amount of $6,413.59.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. That's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. Item 11, our tax office.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Crystal Puente from the Tax Office. I'm presenting 11A, discussion, consideration, and action to extend the deadline of tax refund requests provided by subsection C for the following pursuant to Section 3111 of Property Tax Code, subsection C1, in the amount of $1,171.64.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
11B, discussion, consideration, and action to extend the deadline of tax refund requests provided by subsection C for the following pursuant to Section 3111 of Property Tax Code, subsection C1, in the amount of $790.81.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 12, our Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Joel Rivera, Division Chief, with on behalf of Sheriff J. Eddie Guerra. Agenda item 12A, authorization and approval for Sheriff J. Eddie Guerra to sign fiscal year 2018 cooperative state and local agreement with Drug Enforcement Administration to include OSADEF, Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office officer.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B, authorization and approval for interlocal agreement for 911 public safety answering point PSAP service between the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council and Hidalgo County.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B2, authorization for county judge as authorized official to sign 2 copies of the agreement.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
C1, approval of certification of revenues as certified by county auditor.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, just for the record, the county auditor hasn't certified these revenues yet. We are requesting an opinion from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards, and as soon as we receive a response from them, we'll
address this issue. So if it can be subject to response from the Texas Commission
So
on
you
Jail
want us to
Standards?
rescind the,
No, Judge.
Yeah, approve it subject to?
Judge, actually, Mr. Garza is right behind Ms. Linda there, and he's got a couple of comments as well as with respect to the issue at hand.
Well, I mean, the issue is that the county auditor is waiting on a response from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. So
your position is that we should not be approving?
that you can approve it subject to the response from the Texas Commission on Jail
All right.
Standards. That's at the point the county auditor would be willing to certify.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. We would recommend full approval of this action item. It's merely an appropriations of funds from the Sheriff's Commissary Fund. The Sheriff is already working with Texas Commission on Jail Standards to ensure that these improvements, physical plant improvements, comply with jail standards. These are improvements to cells, converting certain cells to padded cells, and door mechanisms.
I'm sorry, this particular one is not for that.
Okay.
It's per boiler.
The boiler, okay. Either way, this is a physical plant improvement that's permissible under the statute 351.0415 for the sheriff to expend for the health and safety of the inmates. We didn't have any concerns about it. We would recommend full approval. Obviously, the sheriff has full discretion in expending these commissary funds, and this action item is merely to appropriate those funds for that expenditure.
There are restrictions to the use of jail commissary funds, and that is the purpose why we requested an opinion from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. So if you can approve it subject to.
Judge, the request of the opinion from Texas Jail Standards is an exercise of futility. They're going to come back and say, we recommend the district attorney issue the opinion, which they already have, the county attorney. And so, in essence, what we've done is saying, can we use commissary funds to improve the boiler system, the hot water system for the inmates, which is a health and safety issue that we've identified. Rather than hit the general fund, we're going to allow the commissary fund. Again, we've done this in the past where we've asked for opinion from the DA's office, in which they concur with our assessment that it is, in fact, a health and safety standard and can be used for the purposes of plant improvements. So to that end, when we've gone in the past and asked for the jail standards to give us an opinion, they always refer back to the district attorney's office.
All right.
May I proceed to two?
Well, we have to take a vote yet.
Oh, we did get a vote. We got a full approval.
Well, we
there
got
was
to
no-
vote on C1.
Correct.
Yeah, I need two. May I move on to two?
Was Linda asking us to change C1?
No.
No.
I was just requesting that this be approved subject to receipt of the opinion from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards.
But the DA's office is saying that they've already,
Yes, they have.
they anticipate that it's going to
They
revert back to them. on
And,
the
and
opinion.
yes, potentially the response, and we have received some responses in the past where the Texas Commission on Jail Standards says, this is our opinion, however, refer to your local DA, and we will. And if
So-
they've already agreed to it, then that's what, we can go ahead and
But I
certify.
mean, if that's what they always do,
Well, that's not what they do, but they have in the past. It could happen, it could be the same situation where they will tell us.
They lack the authority to be able to stop anything, though.
Are we looking at really just an issue of timing then? Like
We
being
expect
able
for
to
them
move
to, yes, they should be they're pretty quick about responding to our requests, so we expect that we could receive a response today, latest tomorrow. So we're just requesting that this be approved.
This is,
subject
however, a boiler system that's used for the health and safety of our inmates. So if it goes, we're going to have very limited options here. We've got 1,200 inmates that we house, and we don't know how long that boiler's going to last.
And Judge, Commissioners, I think you've taken action on one. I think we can expect the auditor will not appropriate until he gets some response from Texas Commission on Jail Standards. I don't know that it's necessary to approve it subject to. That would just hold up the process even longer.
Well, regardless if we approve it without the subject, they're still going to do their job nonetheless. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt us nonetheless.
So, move on to two.
May I move on to two?
all right. Number 2. C2.
Approval and appropriation of funds by the jail commissary account for the amount of $74,296.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 13, Executive Office.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. I do have something under 13A. Number 2, emergency situations occurring since last agenda meeting. We did have an issue this morning with power surges at the courthouse, and the 430th District Court AEP was notified. It was early this morning. It was a little bit before 7 a.m. I was communication with Mr. Daniel Flores from Facilities Management. And so we did dispatch electricians to the courthouse, given the infrastructure that we have over there with our control panel for the electricity. They did address it, and as I said, AEP was contacted, and AEP was trying to determine the cause of the surges. There was no effect to county operations per se, but wanted to make sure that we did let everybody know about what happened this morning. And one other update, Judge, Commissioners, with respect to county-owned building construction, relocation, and renovation repair projects. I have been working with Ms. Laura Hinojosa from our district clerk with respect to a DRO office. We've been talking about this since 2009. The issue that we had in the past was, one, the startup cost for a DRO program, and the space allocation for such an office. I'm working with Mr. Sergio from the Budget and Management. He is getting us an update as to the fines or the fees associated with the DRO program, and we have identified the 5th floor of the courthouse as a potential site. I think it'll work very well for the program, but just a quick update on our Domestic Relations Office project. Item 13B, discussion, consideration, and action allowing La Unión del Pueblo Entero, which the acronym is LUPE, to utilize translation equipment and translate it during the Commissioners' Court meeting of August 22nd, 2017, or subsequent court meeting. Judge, Commissioners, we have been working with Ms. Josephine Ramirez's office in addressing limited English proficient individuals with respect to translation services. And so LUPE would like to utilize and in essence demonstrate the use of this type of equipment and translation services with respect to the court's obligation in providing limited English proficient individuals translation of court proceedings or Commissioner's Court proceedings with respect to certain items. And so, again, we would work with LUPE. There would be no disruption to court, and we'll be working with Jackie Trevino of our PIO office with respect to the setting up of the equipment. I am recommending approval.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 13C is approval of right-of-way permit for Precinct 3. I have Mr. Gallardo in the audience in case there's any questions. It's for Mr. Manuel Chapa. It's to open cut road 1472.03 feet north of mile 3 road, which is on Abram Road, within the City of Missions ETJ.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Mr. Silguero.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Raul Silguero, Executive Office representing HR. Item 14A, Judge, Commissioners, we have a few items that require the waiving of the budget amendment policy for personnel-related amendments. I'm asking for 14A, a waiver of the policy, please.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
14B is discussion, consideration, approval for Hidalgo County Office of the County Judge to appoint Ivana Melendez as a volunteer intern under the Hidalgo County Office of the County Judge for the period August 14 to August 24th. Judge, I recommend approval. We're subject to a signature of the applicant on the waiver of liability. She submitted a electronic signature, and when she comes in, we'll get the original signature. So recommend approval on that.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 14C for the Health Department. There's two items. Just as a background, there's some changes in grant. There's no change in salary to any of the positions. It's simply a change in funding source. One, we're deleting slot number 003. the registered nurse 4. It's a sort of a supplement that's no longer needed, so that's being deleted. And on the clerk 2, the 1,550 adjustment is just a change from one grant to another. So there's no change in salaries. It has to do with the funding of the positions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, this is for Judge Singletary in the 92nd District Court. Judge Singletary is asking an adjustment to positions within his funding. It has to do with, he wants to make a small adjustment to the court coordinator, the bailiff, and the assistant court coordinator. The adjustment has to do with the court coordinator completing and getting a court manager certification. So the court coordinator would get a $1,000 increase from $67,980 to $68,980. The bailiff has been assigned duties with the court e-filing system, so there's an increase of $2,000 from $50 to $52,862, I'm sorry. And the assistant court coordinator, the salary is being adjusted down, the budgeted salary to fund those positions, and it's a reduction of $2,500. So we're asking, recommend approval on that.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 2 is approval of the intra-departmental transfer.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E, for the Office of the District Attorney, and this has to do with his funding from the House Bill 64 forfeiture funds, approval of the following personnel actions effective next full pay period. These are 2 reclassifications. We have completed job audits. We recommend approval. The judge is asking approval of slots 086. They're getting paid from 2 sources. That's why they have 2 slot numbers. But the net effect is to change their salary by, let me get the salary would go from $25,000 to $28,940 on one, and from $23,340 to $26,914, and the adjustment is a total of $4,000. And these are all Chapter 59 funds, so we recommend approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Also for the Office of the District Attorney, this is a District Attorney 3. They get paid from a variety of funds, so you see a lot of numbers there. It's really one attorney getting an adjustment from 59, from a base salary, 59,843. This is an attorney 3 to a base salary of 65,405, a net increase of $5,562. Under the step and grade, an attorney 3 would be earning slightly more, so we recommend approval. The salary for an attorney 3 under the step and grade would be $67,476, and this one just now puts the employee at $65,405. So we recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G for the Sheriff's Office, House Bill 65 funding, approval of the following personnel action effective next full pay period. The Sheriff is requesting the creation of a new slot, 003, Senior Deputy Sheriff Step 1, at a salary of $49,822. This position will be assigned to the Office of the FBI to assist in financial criminal activity, and the Sheriff indicates that the sharing of the forfeiture funds will more than pay for this position. So we recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And that's all I have. Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Item 15, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. P.R. Avila with Urban County. Item 15A, requesting authorization to change the Activity 01 classification code to Activity 03J and revise descriptions on the fiscal year 2017 one-year action plan, which was approved on Commissioners Court on July 25th, 2017.
Move for approval.
Second.
Item B, subject to compliance. Sir?
Hold on, we got to take a vote.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, subject to compliance with House Bill 1295, when, if applicable, the Irving County Program on behalf of Precinct 2 is requesting authority to purchase equipment for the Community Resource Center Use Facility Project. Purchase will be made from Dell Marketing LP, contract number DIR SDD 1951, through the Hidalgo County membership's participation with Department and Information Resources. The total amount of the purchase is $17,346.64.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Item 15C, subject with House Bill 1295, when applicable, the Irving County Program on behalf of Precinct 2 is requesting authority to purchase equipment for the Community Resource Center Use Facility Project. Purchase will be made from CDWG through the Hidalgo County membership participation with the Cooperative Purchase Network. The total amount of the purchase is $9,406.63.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 16, our Health Department.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Eddie Olivares, Hidalgo County Health and Human Services.
Morning, Eddie.
Good morning, sir. I have first item is discussion and consideration and approval to provide the letter to Nuestra Clínica del Valle in support of their application for funding in an essential program and address the health care needs of the community. There was a letter that's in your packet that was sent for the judge's signature to approve Nuestra Clínica's application for their funding. The letter is very supportive and no financial commitment from the county to them. It's just that we approve their action to continue their services in the community.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Judge, you may want to have your staff just put that on your letterhead, your county letterhead, your judge letterhead, and that way that could be signed and sent to her.
All right.
Okay? 'Cause I only have the draft form. I don't have the one that's the official letter. So.
Okay.
Item B is requesting
Get
approval.
together with Yolanda and make sure that you get.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do that, sir. Thank you, sir. Item B is requesting approval to submit the grant application to the Texas Department of State Health Services for Zika-related healthcare program. The grant is in the amount of $311,162 with a tentative start date of November 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018, with a renewal of 2 additional years subject to approval at that time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. On item C, sir, there will be no action on that item, sir. We'll skip that one today. Item D is requesting approval to submit an application to the National Association of County City Health Officials to participate in the Project Public Health Ready cohort. The Project Public Health Ready is a criteria-based public health preparedness program that assesses local health department capacities and capabilities to plan for, respond, and recover from a public health emergency. This is an accreditation we're applying for. If we get this accreditation, sir, we actually get more points in federal grants, that we have a higher chance of receiving more funding. So, but it's a very, very hard accreditation. And so we're working on trying to get that accreditation. So this, what it does, it pays for us to be able to participate in that.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item E is requesting approval of memorandum of agreement between the Coastal Bend Regional Advisory Council and Hidalgo County. The purpose of the agreement is to outline the responsibilities for each party in the area of healthcare preparedness. Legal has reviewed this. They've approved it. The auditor's office had a concern in regards, there's a line in there that talks about funding that would be issued to us. They don't give us any money currently, but the way the grant works is that if there's an emergency, that entity may get funding from FEMA, and then they would assign money to us based on the emergency. Right now, there's not an emergency, so there's no money allocated, but it gives the latitude for them to assign funding to us in the event of a large-scale emergency and is made available. So auditor's office, Linda, I'm not sure she's here. Yeah, so that's what it is. So we're just, it's pending. We hope we never have to have that money because that's not good news to us. So, but that's what the contract's about, the agreement.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item F, sir, involving the healthcare funding district or the hospital component. There is no action there unless you have any questions. And item G, Indigent Healthcare Program. Sir, there is no action there unless you have any questions or comments. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Item 17, our IT department.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Quick item here, 17A for the Planning Department. Authorization and approval to upgrade the service plan and the cell phones using the county's stated contract on the grid listed below. Requesting approval.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Have a great morning.
Thank you, sir. Item 18, our elections office.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. I was waiting for Urban County to go up. Hilda will be passing out they will be passing out some packets, and the first thing you will see will be the November 7th calendar. And just to remind the community that the last day to register to vote or to make changes to their registration will be Tuesday, October the 10th. The first day of early voting for our November 7th, 2017 uniform election will be Monday, October 23rd, with the last day of early voting being Friday, November the 3rd. So it's important to keep those dates in mind. If anyone has any questions about their registration, I urge them to come by our office or to call us at 318-2570. The next two items in your agenda, and please note that these schedules are simply drafts that have not been turned in to you all as of yet. Today, by the end of today's agenda item, I hope to have some direction from you all so that I will bring back the finalized recommended locations, early voting sites, election day sites, and will be approved then for the next court meeting. But for now, I just want you to take a look at them. The first one is the early voting sites. You will see that there are 34 recommended locations. And what is important to note is that 10 of those 34 sites will be a shared cost with an entity that will be contracting us to run during this November 7th. 24 of those sites are already being paid solely by the county. Okay, so 24 of those. Now, the next schedule is our election day sites. Right now, it shows 42 sites, which of course I need for this court to review and be in touch with me and recommend either adding or deleting whatever it is that you all will recommend. So out of those 42 locations right now, 11 of them are being shared cost with another political subdivision, and 31 of them are already being paid by the county. So I think that's something important to note as you review those locations.
Which entity are we sharing the cost for?
I'm sorry?
What entity are we sharing costs?
Okay. Right now, we have got the City of Alamo that is sharing the Sergeant Fernando de la Rosa. We've got Donna, a City of Donna that's sharing the Boys and Girls Club. We've got the City of Ed Couch sharing their fire station. We have La Jolla that is sharing the Municipal Library. Progreso sharing the Progreso Community Center, and Westlaco sharing the Business and Event Center. And we've got, of course, the City of Edinburgh, which at this point there are two locations where it's our Elections Annex Warehouse and the UTRGV, which is our newest location to add, to recommend to add as a permanent site. They've always been a mobile site. So those are the ones being shared. Now, keep in mind August 21st. On August 21st, that will be the last day that a candidate has to file for a place on the ballot. One of these entities already shared with me that up to today, they don't have opposition. The candidates that are on and have filed, probably the incumbents, right now have no opposition. So on the 22nd, they will let us know, and they will cancel their election. So as far as these locations, as far as shared cost, as far as the county taking on the cost, that may go up, and we won't know that until August 21st.
Where do you have your mobile locations listed?
During a constitutional commissioner, we have normally not had mobile sites because of the very, very low voter turnout. That's why the state recommends the lower hours, recommends the locations themselves are reduced throughout the state of Texas because this has historically been a very low voter turnout, not like our federal elections, be it the gubernatorial or the presidential.
Now, do we have an option to set up mobile sites?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do we have an option to set mobile sites?
There is always an option, Commissioner.
Okay.
Yes, sir. There's
just
always
wanted
an
to ask the
option.
question.
Yes, and that's why we bring these to you normally a little bit earlier than this. There have been other reasons for the delay. You know, we're trying to be ADA compliant. We've got more that is being determined and referred to now than normally.
Well, and the reason why I ask it, just because the shortened hours on some of these, I mean, they'll be more effective to place them in areas where there's a high volume of people that can exercise their right to vote between those hours. So
Yes, sir.
I would recommend to the court to at least consider some of the mobile sites to be utilized. But like I said, it's,
Okay. That is certainly something that we can discuss. I would like to bring up House Bill 658 only because it's gone to special session, but what that will do if it is passed is that will require the elections office to send a minimum of two, with parity, two co-judges to every single residential that has a 10-bed minimum facility at any moment that we receive 5 applications for ballot by mail. So we're in the process of studying that only because that in and of itself will of course require more workers. There are 35 locations in the county of Hidalgo that we are getting ready to work with and to meet with to set up these locations. And so that in and of itself we'll know better after this special session, but for right now it is a law. So we're getting ready for that. That would, in a sense, be sort of a mobile site where it will require more workers, and the law is very specific. When a person is not there, then they ask us to leave the ballot. We would not leave the ballot. We would return with a ballot. That would be a live ballot. And the whole purpose of this bill is to curtail voter fraud amongst our elderly. So we wouldn't recommend. And of course, these are things that I'm getting ready to bring to this court. But that's more discussion. In 2009 and in 2011, this court decided that when an entity full contracted with us, we were only to charge and share cost in those polling sites within their jurisdiction. And so that's what we've always done. So the city of Edinburgh, for example, will have polling locations within their city boundaries, and they, according to what the court had decided before, would only share the cost there, although a full contract entity ballot would be throughout all the early voting sites. So, for example, 34 early voting sites, anyone who contracts with us has their ballot available at all the sites. Now with the countywide polling place program, this will be the same. The ballot will be available at all 42 sites, and so I will bring back to court. I just wanted to address that with you all, that I would imagine you would want to follow the same process with our election day, where they will only be responsible for the cost within their boundary lines and not throughout the entire county. So that's something that I need for y'all to keep in mind, and I will be emailing you all to remind you that it will be back on the agenda for next time. So that's important to note. The next packet that you see will be the 3 estimates that my department was asked to provide for the city of Edinburgh. I have numbered them so that they're easy to follow. Number 1 was the original 8 to 5 estimate cost, and you can see there, the bottom line, what that cost is. Number 2 is the estimate that we were asked to provide with an extended 1 hour, which was 8 to 6. And then the third one is the extended hours from 7 to 7. So if you look at 2 and 3, Edinburgh will be coming up. In fact, they can come up now if they would like. They will explain to you more in detail. But what I need for you to see is in section 6.06, it has been highlighted. And you will see the second line, very small, I'm sorry. We try to do a 1-page. The payroll for early voting employees extended hours. You will see on the number 2, which is the 8 to 6, the cost that it shows is $47,750. Now keep this in mind. That is a cost for all locations throughout the county. That is not a cost for only the sites that are designated for the city of Edinburgh. And this is what's going to be discussed today. How will this be shared? How will this be extended? You will see the same thing on number 3. you will see the cost of $145,776.67. Then again, that's what the discussion will be today. Now, the last thing I would like to give you information on is that I was able to contact 5 of the 6 other cities that are running with us. One city said, yes, their commissioners want to enjoy the extended hours, and they are willing to share the cost, but only within their jurisdiction. The other 4 said no. We've always run with you. We already, in fact, one already took to court. They already ordered their election. They've already all are an 8 to 5, and of course they're smaller cities, and they have not budgeted this year for an extended cost since they've always run with us, and it's always been from 8 to 5. So there are 4 that have said no, and 1 that I've not been able to contact. So I just wanted to give you that information, and if you have any questions for me, or I will pass it on to the City of Edinburg. Okay.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Richard
Morning,
Hinojosa,
sir.
I'm the City Manager for the City of Edinburgh. I also have Councilmember Richard Molina here with me. I think previous meeting you asked that the City of Edinburgh enter into an agreement with the county prior to us discussing our request to go extended hours, or 7 to 7 for early voting. At our last City Council meeting last week, City Council did approve the agreement with all the conditions that you have in there, and we want the county to run our election, obviously. But we had some subject tos. Obviously, the city is requesting extended hours for early voting, 7 to 7, within our jurisdictions. Obviously, we will pay, for those extended hours within the city. Ms. Ramon and I had a meeting yesterday, and we've been discussing it for the last 2 weeks. I think our city is saying we will pay for those extended hours within the city, but we did not see the need to have extended hours that the city would pay for countywide. We did look at the numbers that was provided, the 3 different scenarios. I had my staff look at those numbers. In reviewing those, if we kept only the extended hours within the city limits, we believe that we can get to that number of 85,000 number that the city approved for entering the contract with the county. So today, and Councilman Molino, I think, wants to address the court. We are requesting that we do have extended hours for early voting, 7 to 7, and that we pay the county $85,000 to run our election. We are still working with Ms. Ramon as far as sites within Edinburgh. I know they're proposing 2 early voting sites. We're not against the 2 early voting sites. We've historically only had 1, but I know the need and what it looks to have UTRGV involved as well. So we're not against. I don't think our council is not against the 2 sites. For the actual day of the election, we will look at those sites as well with you all. If you want to have more than 2, or if we have 2 more sites, I know Ms. Ramon is asking about having the Girls and Girls Club, Boys Club added on election day, but we're more than willing to sit down with you all to look out on the election day.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Councilmember Molina,
Morning,
City of Edinburgh. I just wanted to address you guys on something. We're more concerned, I guess the consensus was at our meeting, that we're looking for the polls to be open from 7 to 7 more than have additional polling sites. I know there was a recommendation of adding 4 or 5 sites. We weren't looking for more sites. We were looking for more hours. And that was a consensus. We did vote on that. We're passing this over to your court and ask that you really consider that. And just so that you know, Judge, I did reach out to some elected officials from some of the bigger cities, specifically Weslaco and Donna, and they were never presented with the option that the polls could be open 7 to 7. They were told the same thing that we were, that it was state law, and that the polls could be open only 8 to 5. That is the minimum amount of hours that the polls can be open, but they were never presented in their particular courts. But the commissioners that I did reach out to from those 2 entities that will also have elections in November of 2017 have said they are open to having the polls as well, 7 to 7, in Weslaco and Donna. and they were just looking for numbers on how much that was going to cost so that they could get it on their agendas and approve that as well. But just so you know, Judge, we don't want to suppress voter turnout, as I said the last time, and we do want to have these polls open as long as possible. The layman works 8 to 5. I worked 8 to 5. My brothers and sisters work 8 to 5. The large amount of the community work 8 to 5, and you're not going to get a large voter turnout.
Well, I think the entire court was in agreement that they needed to be open 7 to 7. The issue was, the added amount of cost, how to address it.
Absolutely. I think there was some research that was done by our city manager. You did call the Secretary of State, and they did say that upon our recommendation that you could have the polls open. In other words, it was an option. I know that Commissioner Joe Flores said if we do it for one, we do it for all. But that is an option to revisit and have a polling site that's outside the city be open from 8 to 5 if budget was going to be, if it was going to come down to the determination on this. But just FYI, Judge.
Where's Ms. Ramon? Is she behind you? Oh.
Yes.
So with what they're saying about the amount of the sites, with reducing the sites to what we've had in previous elections, would that save us save money?
Definitely, sir. I will just not remind the court because, of course, you know, but just to address the item that we are piloting this November, which is our countywide pilot place program. We are also looking at the ADA compliance of the locations, and so we have already reduced the sites. In a federal election, we have always had 75. In a constitutional, we have gone as low as 29 and gone as high as 32, 35. This is the first time that we, of course, do increase a little more because we are looking at our county-wide placement. It is preempted to our primary, which will be, hopefully, we pass with flying colors and we're accepted into the county-wide program. The Secretary of State does have the right to reject us. And so we're hoping that this will begin the process of something that will be permanent. And so during the primary, we will, and I'm going to keep my promise, we will not reduce the locations. I will not. Again, we are working with our compliance officer, making sure that these sites are ADA compliant, and so there may be some need for change, but not because we're trying to reduce, only because we're trying to serve all voters of Hidalgo County. So with that in mind, Commissioner, you can review those sites. I will email you a form with all the colors, and you can choose.
I'm not,
Yes, sir.
my question was, I thought a little simple, right? But it was, they're saying that they've only had one site in the past. If we reduce it to one site instead of all these sites, would that help us with some of the costs we're looking at? That's my question.
Definitely,
I don't know
sir.
about all that other
Yes,
stuff.
when you reduce sites, your higher cost is payable.
We're not reducing sites. We're going back to what they've used in the past.
The only comment I have with that, Commissioner, is that these will not only be sites for Edinburgh. These are sites for our entire county because of the county-wide.
And I understand why you started and why you did this, and I appreciate that. But what I'm saying, in light of these extended hours and the amount of money it's going to cost us, have you done anything to show us an option that would actually help us offset some of those extra expenses?
Every poll site, we have already done a cost analysis, again, estimates with the little information that was given us. And depending on the site, for example, the elections annex is one of our highest voter turnout. It would cost approximately $8,000 to run that site. Versus, for example, we're trying to get into...
How much was that? What was that figure?
8,000, and this is an estimate, very, very general.
That's an additional cost, or that's a total cost?
That would be a cost per day, approximately. Again, I've got minimal information before me. We don't have everything, because we don't have contracts, we don't have questionnaires, we don't have yet.
I want to highlight that issue. So the normal process for you to do your job is you work with the entity.
Exactly.
You meet with them, you figure out what their demands are, what they're wanting to see. It's not the court that does it. Once you engage in a contract and the city has approved it, that's when you bring it to court for approval. So in this case, that's what you've done. You've done it with the city of Edinburgh. You've done it with other cities. It's not that from the court has set that we're advocating lesser hours. We're always advocating. I think the first time it came before us, we'd like to see the 7 to 7. It's nothing that we're not advocating for voter. And I like the advancement, the article that came out regarding even on election day, a voter can go to any site on this one. So access to voting is going to be far better than it was in the past, which is a good thing. But I do agree with what Commissioner Cantu is saying, is anything that we can do to lessen the cost, even better, but not at the price where we're going to disenfranchise the voter. Because the money is very nominal for the opportunity for people to exercise their right to vote.
And that's correct.
So there's a threshold there, and we want to make sure that it works.
Yes, there is. And because it's our first attempt at the countywide pilot program, we have no statistics to support where the voter will choose to go. And so the recommendation from the state and from others that have been successful are to place your location, be very strategic in where you place your locations, make sure that they're large enough, larger than what we've been using in some cases, so that the voter will have that choice. So, that's where you come in today. You look at that list, and if there are some, then definitely you will consider reducing.
So
and again, you don't like that word.
So that we can move it a little quicker. I guess all I'm saying is, if it's nominal, then there's nothing to talk about. If it's significant, which is what I understood from last time, then there's got to be compromises, right? We go to 7 to 7, even though it's a constitutional, but maybe we go back to some less sites, what they're used to in November elections. That's all I'm trying to concentrate on. If it's nominal, is it nominal? If it's nominal, I'd send a discussion.
Again, the estimate before you will show the estimate amount of $145,000.
Give me the numbers.
It's with 2 early voting sites countywide for Edinburgh, not 4. The additional countywide for the extended hours of 7 to 7 is approximately $145,000 additional dollars to the estimate itself, which is estimate 1.
And so if they're willing to pay $85,000, how would we get to $85,000?
Sure, that's what they capped. How do we get to $85,000?
How did we get to their figure?
We would have to go back to the drawing board.
Sir? 86 is half of the increase, though, because we're sharing that cost, aren't we? Are we not?
The 85, their first number 1 bill is their cost already shared. If you will look at that number 1, you will see that the cost is already shared.
Got it.
It's number 2 and number 3 that have that additional extended 1 hour, and the other has the 4 hours that you will see on 6.06. But the number 1 is already shared.
So number 1 would have been 8 to 5.
Yes, sir, and already shared cost with the county.
Number 2 is 8 to 6.
Yes, sir.
Which is $167,000. And the last one is 7 to 7, which is $344,000. These 3 pages.
Keeping in mind that countywide figure on 6.06 is the entire cost for the entire county.
But you need to reduce it for them.
And that is why we're here. They just wanted us to show the amount so that we could present it to court.
Well, I don't think that they should be subjected countywide. I think we need to know what the number is for just
so 7 to 7 for Edinburgh would be more than 8 to 5.
Yes, sir.
And do you know what that number is?
All you have to do then, and that's why these estimates were put this way. If you take number 3, and it's already down below.
Okay.
You take the 82,860. I'm on number 3. That was their 8 to 5. And then you see the additional extended hours, which is the 261,000.
But that's countywide, right?
That's countywide, yes. So if you take the amount up above, which is the extended cost of the 145,776, I cannot right now, off the top of my head, tell you how much each entity would be, but that's the entire amount.
I wouldn't expect it off the top of your head, but I would expect that you can see what Edinburgh's polling locations would increase the cost, and then you would offer it to Edinburgh and say, to go to 7 to 7 in Edinburgh, it would cost not $85,000, it would cost $120,000.
Yes, sir. And we will do that.
I believe that Edinburgh would have approved that from what I heard last time, and then we could have approved the rest of it.
Commissioner, we were asked to create these estimates in this manner. That's why I bring you the estimates in this manner. We were not asked to give you the estimate for only Edinburgh with the extended hours. The
I just assumed that was a conversation y'all were having between you all and Edinburgh. I made that assumption.
And again, Mr. Hinojosa, you're the one that talked to the state.
Just a minute, Richard. Let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
There's only 3 communities, I believe, that are going to be voting for their city officials on November. That's
No, sir.
Edinburgh, Donna, and Westaco?
No, sir. There are 7, and then,
Okay,
and the
which
county.
ones are the other 4?
We have got, I tell you right now. We have got the city of Alamo, the city of Donna, the city of Edcouch, the city of Edinburgh, the city of La Jolla, the city of Progreso, the city of Westaco, and the county. That's, all those entities are running in
Well,
November.
we gotta be talking about providing 7 to 7 in all these different cities.
Yes, sir. That's
What
exactly
would
right.
the additional cost be from where we are? What is the basic cost without the extension?
That's your number 1 estimate.
Okay, give me a figure.
Well, you know, again, for Edinburgh, because again,
No,
we were.
not for Edinburgh, for the county.
I would have to go back and add each entity's additional costs and give you a figure. Because right now, all I was asked to present was the city of Edinburgh. So that's what I
think
brought.
what the judge is asking is, before there was the time extension, when your preliminary plan of going 825 across the county, what was that cost?
And Commissioner, because we've not received all the information from the entities, we could not come up with the figures yet. Because again, as Commissioner
But
Palacio stated.
You had the locations, you had the number of locations. Each one of them is going to be staffed in the same manner, an election judge and so many clerks.
Yes, sir.
All we had to do was, well, knowing that, you multiply times the number of locations. And what would
Yes,
that
sir.
number have been?
And again, I will try to reiterate once again that every location is not the same cost. You take the elections annex that has a minimal of 15 workers versus you go to Lynn San Manuel that will probably have 4 workers. And you cannot just tell, I can give you an average. A high average would be about $8,000. A low average would be approximately $3,000. That's all I can give you at this point because this court has not decided on the locations, which is what we do first. Then we go ahead and begin our estimates based on the information that you all have given
I
us.
think we're making this a little bit too complex.
It is, yeah. It is complicated for us. I wanted so much to try to bring it more simply to the court because I was only asked to address and bring up figures for the city of Edinburgh. That's
Well,
all.
I think we need to address not just Edinburgh, but all of those cities that have elections.
And we have been in touch with them, and that's the report that I gave you all. The city of Westaco is willing to pay a shared cost for their own jurisdiction. The 4 small cities say, you know what, we've always run with you 8 to 5. We didn't budget for extended cost. We already called the election. Some of them already
I'm sure
have.
we didn't either.
I'm sorry?
I'm sure we didn't either budget for it.
No, sir. I was outside talking to Mr. Cruz.
So if nobody agrees to pay the additional monies, it's going to cost us $344,000?
Right now, for the additional 4 hours, it would be an additional estimate, $145,000. Let's say $150,000.
For the whole county.
Yes, sir. Additional for the 4 hours. That's what we figured.
Out of that 144,000, Edinburgh is willing to pay, what is it, 3,000?
They're willing to cap whatever their bill would be at
Give me a
85.
figure without the explanation.
What are you willing to pay?
I mean, you got a basic contract and you're paying 82,000 whether we change anything or not. And now you had a meeting and you authorized it to be capped at 85.
Yes.
That's an additional 3,000.
Judge,
The cost to us countywide is 144,000. And you're willing to pay 3,000 out of that 144. I'm just trying to get an understanding
Sure.
as to what we're doing.
Sure. Knowing all the estimates that were presented to the city, the way that we came up with our amount of 85,000 was we didn't think we should be paying the early voting countywide.
And we would agree.
And I agree with you.
If you
We
redo
shouldn't
the
have to
number,
be paying
if
except for
you-
those two locations
Yeah.
in Edinburgh.
Basically, what I did with staff is we looked at your all's estimates, we ran with the numbers there and tried to back out what it would cost if we didn't do it countywide for the extended hours. So that's where we came up with the 85,000. Now, I think, and I can't answer for my counsel, I think if we can get to early voting hours for 7 to 7, and we can get an estimate that is a true estimate on what that
Right.
cost is without us doing countywide early voting 7 to 7, then I can present it to my council, and the council can act on that.
Can you figure out, Yvonne, what it would take to staff these two locations, the center and the annex building, from 7 to 7?
Yes, sir, we can.
All right, and that's the figure that I think we need to provide Edinburgh with.
Okay. So my direction from the court for the hours then are to run 7 to 7? And will you review the election day sites that I have presented before you and give me guidance on the locations that, again, you would like to change if need be?
Well, I want to make sure that we look at it from an objective standpoint as well, not make a political decision. It's real easy. You can see where the clusters are. If you follow the GIS mapping, it's real simple to see where access are better. So if we can evaluate it based on that, I think we can be more objective in regards to the sites as well.
And that's what we've been doing.
And so I don't think it'd be a very hard process to do, where we can get some, we can defend the fact of the reasons why we're suggesting certain.
Yeah. The sites are already at a less amount than a federal election, of course, from 75, we're standard 75 locations.
Let me ask you another question, and it's an important point. So everything outside the city, we're talking about the rural area. Are we saying that those sites are going to be open 7 to 7 or 8 or to 5 only?
You tell me, Judge, the Commissioner.
Well, we're not running city elections in the rural area. It's all just constitutional. Let me ask you another question. So in regards, I can be in the rural area. So they're going to have, anybody that goes to any of those sites will have access to vote. If they're from Donna and they're just in the area, they're going to be able to cast their vote?
That's exactly correct.
Okay. Oh, so there's going to be increased access.
So, Ms. Amon, hold on, because that's not what you said last time. He asked a question about, can some of the locations, like for instance, Edinburgh be open 7 to 7 and the rural open 8 to 5? My understanding from last time is that if we opened up 7 to 7 in Edinburgh, it was going to go 7 to 7 countywide.
Legally, sir, they can have different hours. What this court gave me permission to do was to apply for uniformity.
So if a municipality, I don't remember that, but so a municipality wants 8 to 5, which some of them have asked for, we can't allow that?
We certainly can, sir.
Okay.
What the countywide program is trying to do, though, is to establish uniformity of locations, uniformity of times, and so the suggestion would be, my suggestion would be, that we have that uniformity, that if we're going to open one site, we open another. You all recall just this May, when the city of McAllen had 1 day, 1 hour off.
That was different because that was City of McAllen and McAllen School District.
Well,
not Westlaco ISD and Edinburgh.
Well, and let me tell you another
City
thing. I know
Edinburgh.
the hope is uniformity, but you can't force a city to do something what they don't want to do either. So if they're saying, I want my polls 8 to 5, then who are we to say, no, you're going to 7 to 7?
And because we've done this reversed, because we had already met with the November entities, and because we've always done 8 to 5, and because the city of Edinburgh was present at those meetings, and we did clarify, never had we been told that anyone wanted extended hours. Never. So that topic was never discussed.
So in light of the cost, we're not worried, Edinburgh's not going to worry about county poll sites outside their city. At the end of the day, the county, if we choose to have 7 to 7 for uniformity's sake in our rural sites, then we'll flip the cost. It's not a cost to the city. It's not a cost to any city. Also, offer to each city, whether they want to run 8 to 5, 7 to 7, it's their choice. We'll partner up, just like Edinburgh stepping up to the plate to cover some of the costs. And why don't we just go that path? I think that's the path of least resistance. That's going to get us right where we need to be.
And so, clarify again then, for the 4 sites, for example, the 4 cities that have already budgeted 8 to 5, one already called order. Of course, they're willing to go back and amend. They're willing to do 7 to 7. They just did not budget for the cost.
Well, my point is you propose a cost to them. You propose and let them come back like City of Edinburgh's doing with an agreement saying that we will partner up to do the 7 to 7. On the county, all we have to discuss is whether or not we want it to 5 or to 7. And in this case, I don't mind going all the way to 7 because it's not a cost they're going to incur, it's our cost.
It's the county's cost. That's why I gave you the differences of locations that the county is already paying for the majority of the locations.
Yeah, but we need to get this done already.
Yes, sir.
They're already in campaign mode. They need to know what the hours, because
Sir, we need to know the hours. We need to code this election.
So how soon can we get it?
We were meeting next Tuesday. We would have it by next Tuesday, but are we meeting next Tuesday?
We're going to meet next Tuesday if we have to get this done for the
Let's
benefit
do it.
of all those cities that have elections. I think it's important.
We can have it. I mean, we have all the figures. It's just a matter of of putting it down on paper. Again, this is not something that we do before we have a contract, before we have all the information filled out.
So in conclusion, we're not in opposition of what they're proposing. All we're trying to do is identify the actual costs that they're going to be doing.
Exactly.
And it'll be the same for every other city that wants it 7 to 7.
And please know that that was going to be my second step with the countywide polling place program. If we did find it to be successful, my next request was going to be that we open up uniformly 7 to 7 with all elections. I just knew that this was an off year, that our budget is not budgeted to fulfill the 7 to 7 cost.
But I will
so
say
I hadn't.
this. I will say this. We're not in dire straits whatsoever. We balanced the budget last year. If the court can consider looking at it, yes, it is. And if you look at these budget for next year, we're very optimistic in regards to we're even going to be able to give a tax break. So I don't think we're in dire straits to look and consider whether or not we're going to make voting sites accessible to voters. That's primarily what this country was founded upon. So I don't think we need to look at all. I mean, I think you've done a great job on the cost. I think you need to go back and assure that the cost you're giving the city of Edinburgh is accurate, and we address it so that we can propose this to every other city. But I'm in favor of the uniformity of 7 to 7. I think that that's the path to go. I think it's a brighter future for people to be able to vote at all sites on election day too. So I think we're having great strides. I think we just need to continue doing the job.
So to be clear, then I will then propose a new estimate to our other 6 entities, well, including Edinburgh, 7 entities that include the 7 to 7 estimate cost, and then they will decide whether they want to open 7 to 7 or 8 to 5. Normally, and just so that you know, normally the election code says that the county, when the county runs, the county decides the hours and the county determines the poll locations. That's what the election code says. Now, what we do, because they contract to run with us, is we try to collaborate with them. Again, reiterating that this had never been expressed until now, so now we're working on this. So we will go back, we will present all the estimates then by next Tuesday, and then we will talk to the other entities and we'll take it from there.
I'd like to just, I'm not going to try to continue this conversation much longer, but just in listening to all of this discussion, the only other thing that I would ask that you consider, Yvonne, is I agree with let's open up as many poll sites as makes sense. But, we should always consider the economics of it. You guys, when you take a registration, somebody comes in to vote, there's a time and date stamp on it, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
you know how many people, when the polls are open between 7 and 7, you know which polling places get a lot of activity subsequent to 5 o'clock. Why don't you do an analysis by polling place on that early voting and see which ones justify keeping it open from 7
And we
to
have,
7.
sir.
So I think when you come back with your recommendation, you may say, hey, we want to have access for everybody, but it doesn't make sense to open it up for one voter in this location. Maybe we'll take that one out, and that will help address the concern that Commissioner Cantu has with respect to how can we alleviate some of the cost by keeping everything open from 7
And yes, Commissioner, we've done that with every poll location that we have, and that's why we recommend. Our job is to recommend the locations, which is the ones you see before you. Those that are low voter turnout statistically, but are out in the rural, we have to open for those few voters that live there. So we've always done that, Commissioner. We've got all the stats. In fact, we presented them to your office. What we plan to do with countywide is exactly that. We have no idea where you will choose to vote now. We have no idea. So now the recommendation from the state is strategically place your locations, make sure you are at a distance for all your voters, and then we're going to start to take the stats.
But in early voting, we can vote anywhere anyway.
And that is why the countywide poll location program is for Election Day. Another process that we will follow and we will track is how many people now, because the early voting stats are higher than Election Day, but how many people now will then choose to wait for Election Day because now they can vote anywhere?
Yvonne, let me close one other simple fact, and this is an important fact. Okay? We collect, our city residents are paying county taxes. They pay county taxes too.
Yes, sir.
Yet they don't get advantage. They don't take advantage of a lot of the infrastructure and services of the county. This is one of the services that we provide all residents of our county. So we have to work with our cities to figure out how we're going to make it better for them, whether it's elections or whatever.
Yes,
but I think that it's a disadvantage if we cannot assist our cities in regards to, even on elections and everything else. This is the one service that they all take advantage of. It's the one service that we need to step up and figure out how we can be a good partner. And I think elections is a perfect example.
And Commissioner,
where
I
I don't think we should
agree.
nickel and dime it. I think we should really do what we need to do.
And I agree, and I think this court has already been doing that by not charging them. You do know that other counties, when they run their election, they just divide by the cost, the bottom line. There are 6 people running, including the county, it's divided by 6. Number one, we don't do that. We prorate. So the little city of Sullivan, for example, is not paying what a larger city would pay.
Right.
And certainly not what the county is paying. And another thing this court did in 2009 and 11 is not charge them like other counties do for their ballot to be at every single location. So we're already doing that. We definitely work with
Good.
our cities
I
and our
just want to make
schools.
sure there's a level of consideration because of the mere
Oh,
fact that
yes.
city residents who pay county taxes
Definitely.
don't get limited county service.
We
And this is
definitely
one area
provide a
we-
service, and the county, because we're already there, does take the higher percentage of the cost. And we definitely respect, the budgets that are from our little cities and our little school districts. That's already been done. We're already tracking and doing statistics. We're where we need to be. Right now, I just needed some direction from this court as to how you wanted to proceed.
You got it, and then
Okay.
you'll be here on Tuesday, right?
Okay, we will.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. 20, Planning Department.
We have a quorum.
Judge, Commissioners, I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask if we could skip a couple of items. I do have, Commissioner Fuentes does have a commitment, and so I'd like to just very quickly go to item 21A, Precinct 1 for Commissioner Fuentes.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. 21A, requesting approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between the South Texas Independent School District and the County of Hidalgo for student transportation staging area for the 2017-2018 school year. This agreement will expire August 31st, 2018.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
And Judge, Commissioners, with your permission, if we could go to Purchasing Department, item 25A1.
Martha Salazar, Purchasing Department. We're going to go to 21A1, finalizing or completion of scoring evaluation sheets of both nominated architectural firms of HDR and HOK for the purpose of tabulation and averaging score sheets. And thus, that would be the ranking by Commissioners Court so as to proceed to the next step of the process, which is authorizing negotiations. Does the court wish to finalize this? They haven't finalized, or did they want to hear from any party?
Well, there's 4 members here. You need one more. I've finished.
Commissioner,
I think vote is finished.
he's already submitted. Yes, sir.
I'm ready if the court's ready.
Well,
Okay.
I'd like to hear from our program manager.
They are here?
Yes, we hired them, and we hired them, and part of their services is to assist us in the hiring of the architect. And I'd like to get at least hear their opinion and what they think and why.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Terry Page with Jacobs. I assembled a team of folks based on our contract requiring us to score these 2 architects with the criteria that you guys all gave us. We went through it, and HOK scored higher than HDR. I mean, that is how our scoring came out.
Repeat
And I'll
what
be
you just
glad
said?
to share the sheet with whoever I need to share our scoring sheet
Can you
with.
repeat what you...
Okay. Aaron's didn't.
Marty, do you have an extra evaluation sheet?
Yes, sir, we do. Ms. Yolanda, please provide the judge. We do have some. Now, you know that the comments made by the program manager is strictly to assist the court in finalizing whatever they may not have been sure about completing their scores. But at this time, as soon as they are complete, if we could have them submitted?
Well, I mean, I would like to see where there's a difference.
Oh, they want to see the scoring. They're going to be emailed in and make copies.
You're going to email what?
His scoring sheets, they don't have them physically.
Oh, they don't have them with them. Can they look at their phone and tell us where there's a difference? I mean, if it's a score of 95 to 96 or something, we could see the difference. No? Or maybe just based on what they remember.
Do you have your notes with you? Can you tell us? I mean, the criteria that we were provided with is fivefold. The selection criteria, the firm's qualifications, the firm's experience, the availability and experience of the PM, and the understanding of the project and familiarity with applicable rules and regulations. And I'd like to know how you scored them and why.
Okay,
On
I'm
each
going to
one of these
have
categories.
I'm going to have Aaron Serfati. He'll be our project controls person on this program, managing all the money. He was part of the evaluation team. He has it on his laptop, and he can kind of go through the scoring.
All right, sir.
Good morning. I'll go quickly through. We did have a team together. We went back and reviewed primarily the interviews that were done here in open court last week, and along with other documentation that we have. But we were primarily focused on qualifications we were able to assemble from the interviews. In the first criteria, firm's qualifications, we scored HOK 2 points higher than HDR, primarily based on the presented county justice facilities.
Do you have a number that when you say
25 to 23?
How many?
25 to 23.
All right.
So that was primarily on differentiating the number of justice facilities that they presented as being done. In criteria number 2, firm's experience of project, we ranked HDR at 23. We ranked HOK at 22. And that was primarily the difference was there was some clarity issues about who the on-site PM would be for HOK, and that's why we ranked them a little bit lower. Both were unclear entirely on what the project leadership
And you
structure
said all
would
this
be.
basis was based on their interview here at court.
Yes, sir.
And then I want to go to the first one in regards to firm's qualifications. And you went on courthouse. Now, that was based on the proposal, or did you go out to the market and verify? Because, again, both represented that they both worked on courthouses, and I could see the shared. But were you able to differentiate what, to validate presentation versus what happened?
Yes, sir. I think that corresponds. HOK did present, if I remember correctly, they were ranked number 4 in courthouse design in the country.
Right. Did you validate that?
Those are accurate rankings.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we allow the gentleman to finish, and then we'll ask questions. So we can do the adding.
In terms of availability and experience of the project manager, criteria 3, we did not have information for items C and D, the project manager with 2 types of projects plus 50% involvement, and the one with 85. So we didn't rank those. We gave them zeros. On the other 2 criteria, we gave HOK 10 and we gave HDR 9.
Well, item 3 is the most important in my eyes. Let me tell you why. Because availability tells me local presence. How often are they going to be here? This is critical to the project itself. I think that availability is a big component. I also think that the experience of the project manager is critical in regards to being able to sustain a project with all the different problems that they could be. So I thought that 3 is where I have the most difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, I can't dispute the firm's qualifications either or. Experience to the project, well, they've all done courthouses before. So I didn't have much of a change on either one of them. It was number 3 that I looked at, probably the most important, one of the most important deals.
Yeah, again, I will say,
and 4.
Just answering the technical nature of those 2 questions, whether the percentage involvement portion versus the 2, they did represent in the interview the types of projects and the number of projects that they've worked on, but they did not represent the involvement percentage that they would be involved in the presentations, and so we were unable to justifiably answer those two questions based on that information. However, on what they did present in that section, we did rank HOK at 10 and HDR at 9. So the only thing being, I think the PM that HOK had proposed had two more projects that he had served on as a PM versus the HDR representative.
Can I ask you a question in regards to Section 4, understanding of the project? What were your totals there?
In the understanding of the project, we had HOK at 11, we had HDR at 9.
And why would that be?
So this, we focused on the presentation of not necessarily their involvement, their past involvement on the project itself, but understanding the nature of the project, their experience on dealing with similar projects and how they would apply that, and then also on how they would apply best practices in county courthouse design to this courthouse. Again, it was more extrapolating from what that was. There was in the HDR presentation, there was a lot of history, involvement in leading up to it, but there was not a clear-cut recommendation on what they should do versus extracting what you wanted. And a lot of times we expect an architect to come with best practices and make a professional recommendation. So that's where we saw a difference in those evaluations. And then lastly, in criteria 5, we ranked HOK at 8 and HDR at 4. Again, this was primarily based on the presentation, and again, the mention of industry best practices and knowledge with those things is what differentiated those for a total of 76 versus 68 in favor of HOK.
What were the totals again?
76.
76 for HOK, 68 for HDR.
On that last one, that was a big difference. Can you explain maybe a little more in detail what you saw?
Again, based on the presentations, I think both firms, to be a certified architect, you're going to be familiar with the rules and regulations of designing. So we went out and said, okay, what do they present extra? What was the differentiator, if we can make a differentiation? And really for us, to have an architect that comes in and says, these are standard best practices that we're going to bring in. So it's really going to indicate past experience with guidelines on A, and then containing a narrative of guidelines. So on the other ones, applicable regulations, standards, and policies, I'd say they scored equally. It was really, what are courthouse guidelines that we're going to bring to you so that you develop a best practice-based courthouse? That was the differentiator.
Okay, but guide me, because, I guess we watched the same presentation. Tell me what you picked from that from the presentations that brought that out, that difference.
There were, I don't recall in the HDR presentation really any mention of best practices versus there were 3 or 4 slides in the HOK presentation that really talked about bringing that in. I don't remember the specifics of that. I remember the
if you can give me one example, if you can remember.
I think it was on. I don't recall. I'm not going to.
No, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, because I somewhat recollect the 2 presentations, and I wanted to see what jumped out to you that you as an expert compared to me as just a commissioner.
Let me, if you allow me a moment to check my notes while y'all.
Because that was, I think, not adding up your score, I think that's where you had the biggest difference.
Yeah, there were 4 points different there. It's an 8-point difference in the recommendation. 50% of the.
What was the score?
76 to 68 was the total.
I will say this, I mentioned during the presentation is that I think both firms are equally qualified and capable. So I'm not going to punish one because they didn't mention something in a 10-minute conversation where we obviously know they probably have some best practices that they're going to bring to the table anyway. in the discussion that I had with your representative yesterday, because we were given access to Jacobs as a resource for us to ask questions. So in that conversation, I don't think I wasn't really given any of the scoring that you guys had done. So I'm hearing this for the first time. So my scores and everything that I evaluated is based independently and without any consideration of your notes or your firm's opinion. To clarify, my conversation with your representative was to clarify some points, to discuss some of the finer details in all of this, some of the past experiences that you guys have had with both. So it doesn't seem like there was a big gap with respect to the qualifications and the professionalism and the resources that each of these bring to the table. So for me, one of the questions that I asked during the presentation is what differentiates you? What makes you different? Because we know you're well qualified. You wouldn't be a Final Two if you didn't have the qualifications, experience, and depth of knowledge necessary to complete something like this. So I just want to be I want to be transparent that this is the first time I've heard of your rankings, and that when I did my rankings, it was completely independent and without consideration of your rankings.
Yeah, and I will suggest the following. In a 12-minute interview with the Q&A following a lengthy RFQ that really gets you to a point where you've qualified them, right? The firms come in and they've got to make or break in 12 minutes. In my experience, it was the same with our presentation coming in, right? You've got 12 minutes to prove yourself, and everyone's going to take it differently. What you pull from that, all I can say is the group that assembled in those 12 minutes from our side found that differentiator to present here.
And if I can note, and I want to state this, the same fact, I've talked to the Jacobs Group, I've evaluated and I've asked some questions, but mine is an independent analysis on the grading. I was never privy to your scoring. I had no idea you guys were doing a scoring. I'm glad you did a scoring, but I didn't just take the presentation, the 12-minute presentation. This is a project that's been going on for 9 years, and we've had interactions with both firms on different capacities. I've looked at taking our project separate to all the projects they've ever done, and I thought it was really important to how the firms, whether or not they could really take what the underlying circumstances are with this courthouse, the mere fact that there's going to be a demolition of existing, the transfer of the services, all of the variables and the variable change to the issues that we had. Very difficult to get that out of a 12-minute presentation. And I've gone through it in and out for the last however long I've been here, going through this process. And so I based it on everything, not just 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that's why I put all the emphasis on 3 and 4. And I don't mind stating for the record, because it is extremely critical. Every element is critical. And my variation, and I don't mind saying, is a 3-point variance between both of them, because they both can do the project. But I didn't just take the 12 minutes. I didn't just take the Q&A. I took a lot of other things under consideration that I believe, and I'm doing it as a representative of the owners to assure that I did my due diligence to all. And that's the reason that I'm where I'm at. I think it's unfair, though, to continue. Obviously, we have one commissioner that wasn't a privy to the firm's.
I think he filled it out, though.
Okay.
He already submitted to the commission.
Okay.
I think what he did not hear is the presentation by our program manager.
Yeah.
That's
right. Okay. Thank you.
But as I started to inform the court, ultimately they do have the provision in their contract to assist you in finalizing your scores if you needed that assistance. And ultimately, our original RFQ does call on Commissioner's Court, the elected official, or the user department to score, grade, and evaluate, so that the court can rank.
as far as I can say, I feel like I needed that assistance.
And you could avail yourself of it.
I don't have any architectural experience or any engineering experience, or so I'm going to be relying on the experts that we have already hired and have agreed to pay $4.5 million, and one of the services they're going to be providing is to help us select the architect that they're going to be working with.
But that was the key word, that you all will be selecting. They can merely assist you in accomplishing that.
So, go ahead.
That's good.
Why don't we take
Can we,
maybe a 10-minute break so we can
I need to tabulate them,
reconcile
yes.
it? We're going to be reconciling
We're going,
any of our figures based on the presentation. that
oh,
we just
okay.
made.
So you're not submitting them to us yet? You want to take?
He says in 10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. We'll be ready.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to be reconvening, and
Let's go to item 20, Judge, then.
where did we leave off, Father?
We were on 21A1, so while they're doing what she's doing, let's go back to item 20, which is TJ, Mr. Arredondo with the Planning Department.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. TJ Arredondo for the record. First item is requesting approval to appoint member to the following boards: the Hidalgo County Subdivision Advisory Board and the Board of Building Line Adjustments. We do have a recommendation from the judge's office.
Yes, sir. I wanted to recommend that Mr. Ken Desjardins.
Ken Desjardins, sir?
Yes,
Okay.
he's the present board member, and he enjoys what he's doing, and he's been very conscientious about serving on that board and doing a good job, and I'm going to reappoint him.
Move for approval?
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is discussion and possible action to authorize a revision of MGM Platinum Ranches subdivision as per Texas Local Government Code 232.041. This is a subdivision in Precinct 4. They're asking to reduce the rear setback from 35 feet to 20 feet. It would still exceed the county minimum of 15 feet, so we have no objection to the revision.
Motion, second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Next item is discussion and possible action to authorize a revision of Rio Vegas Ranches subdivision as per Texas Local Government Code 232.041. Also in Precinct 4, same developer, they're asking to reduce the same setback from 35 feet to 20 feet. It still exceeds the county minimum. We're recommending approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
TJ, real quick, you didn't need 28-2?
We did both.
Okay.
The Board of Adjustments and the Advisory Board, yes, sir.
All right, item 22, Precinct 3.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Victor Gallardo for Precinct 3. Item 22A, approval of 2017 appropriation funds from Road and Bridge, unreserved fund balance for various Precinct 3 Road and Bridge accounts in the amount of $671,417.91 to fund road projects and daily operating expenditures.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 23, Precinct 4.
Yes, Judge, requesting consideration and approval for title commitment, appraisal, survey, meets and bounds, title policy, and acquisition of right-of-way for the North Brush Line Corner Clip project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Agenda item 24, Budget Office.
Morning, Judge, Commissioner Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 24A is approval of 2017 appropriation of funds for the JP Preservation of Vital Statistics in the amount of $4,839.90.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 24A2 is approval of appropriation and interfund transfer from capital projects, sale of assets, Fund 1303, to debt service, refunding bond series 2014B, Fund 1444, and refunding bond series 2014C, Fund 1446, in the total amount of $318.88.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 24A3, A and B, is approval of certification of revenues that's certified by the county auditor and appropriation of those funds into the general litigation account in the amount of $217,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Marty, are you ready? Well, we're going to keep on going. Let us know, Steve.
Okay.
Item number 25A2.
She's going to be gone.
Heidi. Marty, can Ms. Heidi proceed in presenting your items while you work with Mr. Crane?
Yes.
25A2.
Well, you can't do yeah, A2, yes. Let's keep going. This might be pretty old. Right here.
I think everybody heard we were talking, we have a tie, and we don't know what the statutes require us to do at this point, so we got our lawyer looking into it. In the meantime, we're going to proceed and go on with...
I'll keep going because he's going to look for the statute. Okay. 2 is requesting approval to reject the sole bid received for project dated pickup and used oil filters and antifreeze and other miscellaneous products.
Move for approval.
Second. Item
Those in
3.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Presentation of sole responsible vendor meeting the lowest and best bid for the purpose of award and bid to Rochester Armored Car, including approval of the contract for the project numbered 121, Armored Car Services.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 4 is presentation of the sole vendor, Center for Disease Detection, submitting the lowest and best bid for the purpose of award and approval of contract, and that is for laboratory services for Hidalgo County, bid number 153.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
For bid, for B1, Precinct 1, A, requesting acceptance of the certificate of construction completion as submitted by 2GS LLC for the provision of FEMA road improvements for mile 1.5 west as recommended through the project engineer, IOC Engineers, under contract number 400.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
B, requesting acceptance and approval of application for payment number 3, retainage release in the amount of $35,553.53 as submitted by 2GS LLC for the provision of the project we just named.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Precinct 2, acceptance and approval to execute the final form of professional engineering services agreement subject to legal counsel's review, if not already done, for the provision of on-call geotechnical construction materials testings with Terracon Consultants for Precinct 2.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 2, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 1 for contract number 182 with B to Z Engineering, resulting in a change to the project name from Precinct 2 Wayland Road Extension Project to Precinct 2's Military Highway Extension Project.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Going on to item 3, this is acceptance and approval to execute the final form of professional engineering services agreement, subject to legal's review if it hasn't already been done so, P to Z Engineering for project specific Las Milpas Park Youth Facility Project.
Move for approval.
Located in Precinct 2.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, acceptance and approval, work authorization 1 in the amount of $45,578.64 as submitted by project engineer B2C for the same project.
That's a decrease, correct?
No, that's just, that's the amount of the work off.
So it's not a negative, it's positive?
No, it's just,
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 4 is the Honorable Eddie Cantu, Commissioner Precinct 2, requests approval to accept a 16-foot Trail Master utility trail from the Department of Public Safety awarded in accordance with Chapter 47.01A, subsection B1 of the Code of Criminal Procedure by JP Precinct Number 2, Place 1, so as to have said asset added to the department's inventory with supporting documentation attached.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Precinct 3, 1A, approval to order exempting competitive bidding requirements under 262-024A for professional service.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of the firms added and graded and evaluated through the pool. That was ROW Services 98, Quintanilla Headley Associates 96, and Sames Incorporated 89. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We will ask authorities to commence negotiations with the number one ROW.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting authority to purchase one BOMAG BW 151AD5 tandem vibratory roller through our membership through the buy board in the amount of $132,496, and that is under requisition 347208.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3 is acceptance and approval of a proposal received and authority to purchase Hidalgo County Precinct 3 from John Deere, authorized dealer, Newhouse and Company, awarded member through buy boards number contract 529-17, A, B, and C.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Precinct 4, E1, we're going to accept and approve the work authorization 1 in the amount of $10,781.68 as submitted by project engineer LNG for services to the project-specific traffic signal warrant study for 107 Sunflower Road intersection in Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
2 is acceptance and approval of certificate of substantial completion submitted and certified by project architect Mata Garcia, architect, reflecting the date of July 24, 2017 by RG Enterprises DBA G&G contractors awarded for the Precinct 4 landscape, structural, and irrigation construction of San Carlos Community Resource Center project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
F1, constables requesting exemption under 262-024A7, a proprietary software.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And B is requesting approval of agreement for online research services with LexisNexis for Constable Precinct 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On G1, this is acceptance and approval of final negotiated contract with AGB RX TRA Advantage for Hidalgo County's Indigent Health Care Level 2 pilot program, online pharmacy billing services, which is inclusive of the best and final offer. The concern here is that they have not named the county as an additional certificate holder, but we are asked and recommending that it be approved subject to compliance with any requirements.
I'm going to abstain from G1 and 2, please.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'm sorry, wrong concern. It's funding, but at this point I can announce that Department of Budget and Management has informed me that they would be addressing the funding. I apologize for the concern. I'm still recommending approval subject to the funding. Item 2, this is requesting approval of vendors qualified by Health and Human Services Department for Hidalgo County's Indigent Care Level 2 pilot program, primary care provider services, subject to the compliance with any required items that have not been met with the 6 vendors: Lower Rio Grande Valley Corporation El Milagro Clinic, Dr. Bose Industrial and Family Medicine, Nuestra Clínica del Valle, Juana Maria Espejo, MDPA, Luis P. Bay, MDPA, Ashley Pediatrics Day and Night Clinic.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is authorization to admit additional providers to the network as they are being submitted and qualified by the Hidalgo County Human Services Department for the life of the program and all subsequent admittance of providers into Hidalgo County's Indigent Care Level 2 pilot program, Primary Care Providers Services Network.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3A is requesting approval of the first vendor qualified by Health and Human Services Department for Indigent Care Level 2 pilot program, and that is Laboratory and X-Ray Services Network. That's Mobile X-Rays on Demand, LLC.
I'm going to abstain from this as well.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B would be authorization to admit additional laboratories to the network as they are being submitted and qualified by the Health and Human Services Department for the life of the program in compliance with all required services for laboratory and X-ray services network providers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Next is WIC. This is presentation of the sole responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid. That is that's with BIC Development Corporation, including approval of the contract, and that is lease of office space, the Edinburgh WIC Administration Office.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under I-1, Colonia Access Program for Precinct 3, presentation for discussion, consideration, and action on a recommendation by project engineer Javier Hinojosa Engineering to award the lowest bidder, meeting all specifications, 5-Star Galaxy, in the amount of $129,604.70 for bid number 186, road and drainage construction of Palm Subdivision, Unit 2.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
This last one is for the Sheriff's Department, acceptance and approval of a work authorization in the estimated cost of, that is still being processed at the time, as submitted by the project engineer, Half and Associates, in connection with the on-call professional services under Precincts 4 on-call renovation and alterations contract. And this is project-specific for the conversion of 3 existing cells into padded safety cells for the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office. That is an ongoing project that the funding is also coming from the commissary, which is a commissary funds, which are totally under the discretion of the sheriff. But we are checking with this work authorization. We'd like to recommend it be approved subject to both legal's approval as to form and the sheriff's acceptance of the proposal as soon as their walkthrough is done.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So now let me check with Mr. Crane.
We're going to keep on going
Okay.
till Steve completes his calls. Under open forum, did anyone sign up?
Yes, sir, there's several presented. Do you want me to read them out?
No, let me have that. I'll take care of it. All right, the first presenter is Lourdes Garcia.
Buenas tardes. Yo venía nada más a hacerle una propuesta, ¿verdad? Una petición para los alumbrados de las colonias que no tenemos los postes hacia frente, ¿verdad? Y vine a hacerles, ¿verdad?, una petición para que hicieran un poquito, ¿verdad?, de impuestos o de dinero para que así nos puedan poner los postes hacia frente en la colonia Buena Vida. Yo vengo de ahí, de la colonia Buena Vida, y por eso vine a hacer esa petición, ¿verdad?, para que nos pusieran. Ya tengo 15 años ahí viviendo en Osturas y no quiero seguir viviendo más. No, porque los postes están hacia atrás, no los tenemos enfrente. Y pues tengo entendido que están haciendo, ¿verdad?, a un lado todas esas colonias que no tienen poste hacia enfrente, y por eso vine a hacer una petición para que hicieran un poquito, ¿verdad?, de por supuestos para esas colonias que no tenemos los postes hacia enfrente.
So Lourdes comes from the Colonia Buena Vida. A lot of about the light program. A lot of the issues that, or one of the issues that we've been running into, is that some colonias that have infrastructure in the back of their properties, they can't file for the petition, or we can't petition for lighting in their colonias because it costs a little more. So she's asking if there's any way that you guys could separate some of the budget into some of that infrastructure, like so we can at least start with the posts, and then from there we can move on to petitioning for the light campaign, if there's any way.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And Judge, Commissioners, apologize for being in the back. She was well within her 3-minute limit, and just as a friendly reminder to everyone, there's a 3-minute time limit up there. Please respect the speaker's time at the podium, and I'll signify when there's 1 minute left. Our next presenter is Inocencio Peña.
Buenas tardes, comisionados. Mi nombre es Inocencio Peña, soy miembro de la Unión del Pueblo. Ya tengo el gusto de conocer a varios comisionados y convivir con ellos, nos han apoyado bastante. Vengo de Taurus 14, es de mi colonia, y también venimos con la petición de que si por favor nos podrían apartar un poquito del presupuesto. Estamos viendo que están invirtiendo muchos millones en obras que son necesarias para el progreso de esta nación, ¿verdad? Pero nosotros tenemos 15 años en nuestra colonia. Es una colonia muy bonita. La colonia vive gente, no son casitas muy humildes, pero nos hace falta el alumbrado. El único problema que tenemos, el alumbrado lo tenemos subterráneo, ¿verdad? Que va enterrado en la calle, pero no tenemos postes. Esto nos está ocasionando problemas de que por las noches hay mucha delincuencia. Entonces nosotros les hacemos la petición que si pueden apartar un poquito del presupuesto para ayudarnos. Como les digo, tenemos 15 años en esta colonia. Hay mucha gente buena, pero estamos temiendo por nuestra seguridad, porque por la falta de alumbrado se está viendo mucha inseguridad ahí en nuestra colonia. Queremos darle las gracias por las colonias que tienen el poste, ya han ayudado bastante, y queremos darle las gracias también por eso. Esa era mi petición. Muchas gracias.
Inocencio also lives in Precinct 3, and he also ran into the same problem with the posts. We're asking again, or petitioning if there's any way that there can be some budget, or some of that budget can be used for infrastructure in colonias that don't have the infrastructure in the front of their neighborhood. Like that, security issues will go down, and they can have a little bit more. They can start trying to petition for the lighting in their neighborhoods, because a lot of the time they've been doing it for 15 years and they can't really do anything because electricity goes from the bottom of the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Ms. Fern McClary.
I have a couple of questions, and the main one, I just heard a story, and I want to know, is it true that 25 people from the probation department are going to New York City for some kind of training? Is it true the head of the department is going there for 4 days and the rest are going for 3 days? Is it true that there are 3 judges, 2 district judges and 1 county court at law judge going? What do you think this trip will cost the county taxpayers? Could it be somewhere around $45,000 to $50,000 for the plane, for the food, for the hotel and everything? I wonder if it were to be held here in Edinburgh, how many of these people would be going? And like I said, our probation department's been in the news lately, so I wish y'all would check on this. Also, talking about the courthouse, I thought I wouldn't get to speak until you had already voted on it. I was on the committee way back when, so was Virginia. In 2012, y'all talked about a $55 million courthouse. Then it went to $87 million. 2014, it went to like $114 million. Late 2014, it went to $157 million. $127 million for the construction and $30 million for soft cost. 2015, it was $176.8 to $201 million. This was the dream list, and there was a whole list of all these wonderful things you were going to have. Think out of the box. HOK saved $50 million from cutting several things that were not needed. I hope that y'all take that in consideration today. I have no pony in this race, but our thing is we look to see if someone has saved the taxpayers some money. And the county judge stated possibly he would like the courthouse to be around $138 million back then. 2015, it went to $149 million. My question is, why would you give to a company that shows why they could save $50 million right off the bat? And one of the articles in the Monitor newspaper I looked at in 2016 refreshed my memory being in the Commissioner's Court. Did ERO prepare the initial schematic design of proposed courthouse, then surprisingly was part of a group seeking the contract despite an earlier publication declaration that the firm would not bid for the work after the initial schematic phase was completed? What happened in the period of time? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next presenter is Miriam Cepeda. Miriam Cepeda. Next presenter is Mr. Luis Peña.
Morning, Commissioner, Judge.
Morning.
I haven't been here in a while. Last time, I don't know, maybe about 2 years. I am going to present an issue I have with our current sheriff, the one you all appointed back in 2014, which is inexperienced and unknowledgeable in law enforcement, but you all went ahead and appointed him. Okay, the problem we have now is, first, he was in support of SB 4. He was not in support of SB 4. Now he's in support of SB 4. You know, it's either or. The second issue I have at the sheriff's office is that nothing has changed since he took over. It's still in selective enforcement towards certain individuals that work there and people that go and file complaints. I have an issue with a sergeant that is under the sheriff that made a comment in a briefing with the sheriff's deputies over an issue of an undocumented immigrant which was detained in San Manuel. The undocumented immigrant detained in San Manuel happens to be the diesel mechanic to a prominent family that owns ranches in San Manuel. After that, the sergeant advised deputies to stay away from the northern part of Edinburgh and San Manuel and stay away from the illegal immigrants in that part of the county, to only concentrate on the colonias. You either do it or you don't. Selective enforcement will never stop at the sheriff's office. It's going to continue. The problem is he didn't get rid of the people that were there from before. It's very, very simple. When you don't get rid of cancer, it's going to keep spreading. And that's what's going on at the sheriff's office. And part of the people responsible for that, I can hold accountable for is two of you sitting there, because Commissioner Cantu wasn't there at the time. Thank you very much.
Our last presenter is Mr. Ramiro Trevino.
Hello, Judge, Commissioners. If you hear my voice different, I haven't been here in a while, but I've had somebody pick up the agendas for me. I've made my phone calls. I had a ischemic cerebral stroke some time ago, and my voice is still slurred, but I'm doing okay. I've got a lot of dental work done and a lot of cerebral work done. But getting to my issue at hand today, I am appalled to hear that the probation department director has said weeks ago different things to different entities of the press concerning the same question. He never got his act together. So what's going on in the probation department is what I want to know. I also want to know what's good for the goose is good for the gander. There's a probation officer who's working there now who has been arrested twice for shoplifting. This person is supposed to be a mentor to the probationers, and this is who we have working there. So why hasn't the director done anything about it? I can say this because I have the proof, and that's why I'm saying it today. It appalls me to walk in here after I haven't been here in a while because of my medical situation, and to see all the booty licking that is going on behalf of all the county employees, the county administrators and directors, just for a job. I would rather clean restrooms than have to suck up to anybody for a job. Thank you.
That concludes our open forum, Judge Commissioners.
All right, pursuant to 551-071 and 072, I need a motion to proceed to executive session.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're going to be in executive session for a short while, and then we're going to be coming out, and one of the things we're going to be announcing will be what action we're going to be taking as a result of the tie that we earlier pronounced. All right, we are back in open session. Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. Under item 29, open session, 29A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same, there's no action to be taken. 29E, pending and or potential, no action to be taken. 29C, potential litigation related to possible causes of action against drug manufacturers and or distributors of opiates, there's no action to be taken today. Item D, 29D, claim of Rosa Saldivar. Judge Commissioners, I'd like to refer to agenda item 28A and B. 28A, I'm requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262.02484, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
28B, requesting engagement with the firm of Preston Henriksen for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement subject to compliance with House Bill 1295, specifically item 29D, claim of Rosa Saldivar. I'm sorry? 29D.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 29E, claim of Anthony Hernandez. Again, I'd like to refer back to item 28A and B. 28A, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262.02484, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
28B, requesting engagement with the firm of Preston Henriksen for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement subject to compliance with House Bill 1295. Again, specific to item 29E, claim of Anthony Hernandez.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 29F, claim of La Feria transfer station. Judge Commissioner, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $475.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And for the record, if it is accepted, it would be made out to Republic Services. Item 29G, claim of Texas Gas Service. Judge Commissioner, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $261.96.
So moved.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 29H, claim of Guadalupe Leos Hernandez. Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority for property damage to make an offer in the amount of $17,502.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
For the record, if it is accepted, it would be paid out to Loya Insurance Company. Item 29I, claim of David Morton. I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $827.48.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 29J, claim of Maria El Tovar. Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $1,581.88.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Then we go back to purchasing.
Item 25A1, we have checked our math twice.
About 5 times.
5 times, all right. And it appears we have a tie math-wise. And the issue now becomes how do we go about selecting our architect for the project, and the procurement statutes are silent on the issue of what happens if there's a tie. And what we have decided to do is allow our lawyers an extra week to make sure that we look at the statutes and look at the case law And this is kind of situation, I'm sure must have occurred someplace, somewhere before, that maybe perhaps will provide us with guidance as to how to proceed. But we're not ready today to make a pronouncement as to who we're going to be ranking number one. We apologize for this circumstance, and we thank you for your patience, and I guess we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
So it will be on not only a workshop, but we're going to have that item?
Right, and so...
Our meeting will be at 9 o'clock on this item. The workshop is going to be at 10.
Right. Okay. And so just so that everybody understands, we will have a limited agenda for next week. Obviously, this will be one we'll have some business for the commissioners. That'll be at 9 a.m. We're going to work with the Drainage District. I don't believe that we're going to entertain a Drainage District meeting, and then we'll have our 10 a.m. Workshop for budget.
Okay.
Tuesday next week, August 15th? August 15th.
Okay. Commissioners, I want y'all to know, I literally took one for the team. I fell on the floor. I'm glad that one thing I said, the cameras weren't on. Thank goodness.
So before we adjourn, just for purposes of the record, there's no need to go back into closed session, and therefore there's no need for item 31 open session, and we have adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, everyone.